Have you ever wondered why certain people effortlessly command respect and admiration, while others seem to unintentionally repel those around them? Could it be that subtle behavioral patterns, often unnoticed, hold the power to shape how others perceive us? In the pursuit of personal growth and meaningful relationships, understanding these habits is not just essential, it's transformative. In this journey, we turn to the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy revered for its focus on self-mastery, humility, and purposeful living. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This perspective invites us to examine how our actions and attitudes influence not only our own lives, but also the connections we build with others. This article uncovers 12 common behavioral mistakes that may quietly erode your attractiveness, both socially and professionally. More importantly, it provides practical, Stoic-inspired solutions to help you realign with your highest potential. These strategies are not about changing who you are, but refining how you show up in the world. Are you ready to reflect, grow, and embrace a new path of personal empowerment? Let us explore how these insights can elevate your relationships, career, and sense of self-worth. 1. Breaking promises. Breaking a promise may seem trivial at the moment, but its consequences often ripple far beyond our immediate awareness. Each unkept commitment chips away at trust, tarnishes relationships, and undermines the integrity we seek to embody. For the Stoics, integrity was paramount. As Marcus Aurelius advised, "Let your words be plain and simple." Meditations. This principle underscores the importance of aligning what we say with what we do, a hallmark of personal virtue and social trust. Imagine a workplace scenario. A colleague enthusiastically agrees to take on a task during a critical project meeting. The team relies on their commitment, adjusting timelines and expectations accordingly. However, the deadline arrives, and the promised work is incomplete, leaving the team scrambling to recover. How does this affect perceptions of the colleague? More importantly, how does it affect the team's willingness to trust their word in the future? This erosion of trust is not limited to professional settings. In personal relationships, broken promises can have equally damaging effects. Consider a friend who repeatedly cancels plans last minute. Over time, their actions communicate a lack of regard for the relationship, causing frustration and emotional distance. The unspoken message is clear: their words no longer carry weight. Why do we break promises? Is it because we overcommit, underestimate challenges, or fear disappointing others in the moment? Reflect for a moment. Have you ever made a promise you couldn't keep? How did it make you feel afterward? For the Stoics, the answer lies in self-awareness and intentionality. Epictetus urged, "First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." Discourses. This insight reminds us to speak thoughtfully, understanding the implications of our commitments before making them. It's not about avoiding promises altogether, but ensuring they align with our abilities and values. To avoid breaking promises, start by practicing restraint. Before committing, pause and ask yourself, am I fully capable of fulfilling this promise? Does it align with my priorities? By setting realistic expectations, you protect both your integrity and the trust others place in you. When a promise cannot be kept, address it proactively. Communicate honestly, acknowledge the situation, and take responsibility. This approach not only mitigates damage, but demonstrates a commitment to accountability, an essential Stoic virtue. Finally, consider how keeping promises can elevate your relationships. Think of a time when someone upheld their commitment to you. Didn't it strengthen your trust and deepen your respect for them? As Seneca wrote, It is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence. Letters to Lucilius. In this context, the season for speech includes promises made with care and integrity. Keeping promises is not merely about fulfilling obligations, it is about embodying the Stoic ideals of virtue, trustworthiness, and respect. By aligning your words with your actions, you cultivate a life of reliability and honor, leaving a legacy of trust that enriches both your personal and professional relationships. 2. Failing to take responsibility, a silent betrayal of integrity. Failing to take responsibility is one of the most insidious behaviors that can quietly sabotage your relationships, reputation, and personal growth. It's the act of deflecting blame, avoiding accountability, and refusing to own the consequences of your actions. While it may seem easier in the moment to shift fault onto others or external circumstances, this behavior sends a powerful signal to the world that you are unwilling to stand by your word or your choices. For the Stoics, responsibility was not just a duty, but a reflection of one's character. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." Meditations. To take responsibility is to embody integrity, strength, and virtue. Imagine a colleague who consistently fails to deliver on their commitments, only to blame others for their shortcomings. Perhaps they cite poor communication, unclear expectations, or even external distractions. Over time, their refusal to own their part erodes trust, creating frustration and resentment within the team. Similarly, in personal relationships, avoiding responsibility for mistakes or missteps can lead to fractured connections and lost respect. Reflect for a moment. How do you feel when someone refuses to acknowledge their role in a shared failure? Does it inspire trust, or does it leave you questioning their character? The Stoics understood that accepting responsibility is a pathway to growth. Epictetus wisely noted, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Discourses. Responsibility is not about perfection, it's about owning your reactions and learning from your experiences. Avoiding accountability, on the other hand, keeps you trapped in a cycle of denial and stagnation, preventing meaningful self-improvement. Breaking free from this behavior begins with self-reflection. When something goes wrong, pause and ask yourself, what role did I play in this outcome? Acknowledging your part, even if it is small, demonstrates humility and maturity. Next, take proactive steps to make amends or prevent similar issues in the future. For example, if you missed a deadline at work, communicate openly about the reasons and present a plan to ensure it doesn't happen again. This willingness to address mistakes head-on earns respect and fosters trust. Responsibility also means being accountable for your successes. Celebrate the moments when you rise to the occasion and fulfill your commitments. As Seneca wrote, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." Letters to Lucilius. By taking ownership of your actions, both good and bad, you cultivate a sense of agency that empowers you to navigate life with purpose. When you embrace responsibility, you align with the Stoic ideals of self-mastery and virtue. It's a choice that not only strengthens your character, but also inspires those around you. Reflect on your own life. Are there areas where you've avoided responsibility? What steps can you take today to own your actions and rebuild trust? By facing your mistakes and learning from them, you transform accountability into a source of strength, paving the way for a life of respect, growth, and integrity. 3. Lack of ambition, the quiet saboteur of potential. Lack of ambition subtly sabotages your potential, leading to stagnation and unfulfilled dreams. Though it may not draw immediate attention, its long-term effects are profound, leaving behind missed opportunities and a diminished sense of purpose. For the Stoics, ambition was not about fame or wealth, but living with virtue and intent. Seneca aptly remarked, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable." Letters to Lucilius. Without direction, even the strongest opportunities cannot propel us forward. Consider the example of a professional who avoids challenges, doing just enough to get by. While this routine may feel comfortable, it ultimately erodes self-esteem and limits growth. Colleagues may perceive them as unmotivated, and opportunities for advancement pass them by. In personal relationships, a lack of ambition creates tension when one partner desires growth, but the other resists change. Reflect. Have you ever felt stuck in a routine, knowing you were capable of more? What held you back from striving for something greater? Often the root of inaction is fear, of failure, rejection, or stepping beyond one's comfort zone. The Stoics, however, encouraged us to see obstacles as opportunities. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life." Meditations. This mindset transforms fear into urgency, reminding us of the fleeting nature of time. To overcome a lack of ambition, begin by clarifying your purpose. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me? What legacy do I want to leave behind? These questions provide motivation to pursue goals aligned with your values. Next, set achievable steps. For instance, if improving your health is a goal, start with small, consistent habits like daily exercise. Each victory builds momentum and confidence. Embracing challenges is equally crucial. Seneca noted, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Letters to Lucilius. Facing obstacles head-on builds resilience and reveals your true potential. Finally, practice memento mori, a Stoic reminder of mortality. Reflecting on life's brevity inspires urgency and purpose. As Seneca observed, life is long if you know how to use it. On the shortness of life. A life driven by ambition radiates energy, focus, and purpose, inspiring others and deepening connections. Reflect. What area of your life has been affected by a lack of ambition? What step can you take today to realign with your potential? By embracing ambition, you reclaim control over your journey and inspire those around you to pursue their own paths, living a life of meaning and fulfillment. 4. Tolerating toxicity, the quiet erosion of self-worth. Tolerating toxicity, whether in relationships, workplaces, or social circles, is a silent yet powerful force that erodes self-worth over time. It's the choice to endure disrespect, negativity, or harmful behavior out of fear, habit, or misplaced loyalty. While compassion and patience are virtues, the Stoics remind us that protecting one's inner peace is equally vital. As Seneca advised, associate with those who will make a better man of you. Letters to Lucilius. Allowing toxic influences to linger in your life not only drains your emotional energy, but also sends a message to yourself and others that you undervalue your own dignity. Consider a friendship where one person consistently belittles your efforts, dismisses your dreams, or thrives on negativity. Out of reluctance to confront or end the relationship, you endure, hoping things will improve. Over time, this tolerance takes its toll, diminishing your confidence and leaving you emotionally exhausted. Similarly, in a toxic work environment, tolerating a dismissive boss or manipulative colleague often leads to stress, disengagement, and a diminished sense of self-respect. Reflect for a moment. Have you ever stayed in a situation that left you feeling undervalued? Why did you endure it? And what impact did it have on your sense of self? The Stoics teach us that tolerating toxicity is not an act of virtue, but a disservice to ourselves and to those who look to us for inspiration. Epictetus declared, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." Discourses. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It is essential for living with dignity, strength, and purpose. Breaking free from toxicity begins with self-awareness. Take a moment to identify relationships or environments that drain your energy rather than uplift you. Set boundaries that communicate your needs clearly, and if necessary, be willing to let go of those who undermine your growth. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Meditations. Walking away from negativity isn't weakness, it's an act of self-respect and courage. By refusing to tolerate toxicity, you reclaim your worth and create space for positive, uplifting connections. You inspire others to do the same, showing that prioritizing mental and emotional health is a strength, not a flaw. Reflect on your own life. What toxic influences are you tolerating, and how can you begin to let them go? In choosing to protect your peace, you take a bold step toward living with purpose, clarity, and self-worth. 5. Bragging, the silent killer of genuine connections. Bragging, at first glance, may appear as a harmless expression of pride, but in reality, it often undermines the very respect and admiration one seeks. While it's natural to want recognition for achievements, excessive self-praise can create barriers in relationships, making others feel overshadowed or unimportant. For the Stoics, humility is a cornerstone of virtue. As Marcus Aurelius advised, "Do not think yourself more highly than you ought, but strive to be your best self in silence." Meditations. When we brag, the message conveyed is often not one of confidence, but of insecurity. It suggests a dependence on external validation, revealing a reactive self-esteem that craves approval. Have you ever been in a conversation where someone dominated the dialogue with tales of their achievements? Did it inspire admiration, or did it create a sense of discomfort? Consider a workplace scenario. A team member constantly highlights their contributions in meetings, overshadowing others and interrupting the flow of collaboration. Over time, this behavior alienates colleagues, fostering resentment instead of respect. Reflect on this. Do you feel closer to someone who constantly reminds you of their greatness, or someone who lets their actions quietly speak for themselves? For the Stoics, true confidence requires no announcement. Epictetus observed, "If you wish to be loved, love." Discourses. This simple wisdom highlights the importance of focusing outward on connection and service, rather than inward on self-aggrandizement. Genuine respect is earned through actions, not proclamations. To move away from bragging, begin by practicing mindfulness in conversations. Pause and ask yourself, am I sharing this to connect or to impress? If your intent leans toward the latter, consider reframing your words to include and uplift others. For example, instead of saying, "I single-handedly completed this project," you might say, "Our team achieved great results together, and I'm proud to have been part of it." Additionally, embrace gratitude as an antidote to boasting. By acknowledging the support and contributions of others, you shift the focus from yourself to the collective effort, fostering deeper connections. Humility has a magnetic quality. When you allow your achievements to speak for themselves, you create space for others to see your character without feeling overshadowed. This quiet strength not only enhances your relationships, but also builds enduring respect. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Meditations. If you've been on the receiving end of bragging, use it as a reminder to choose humility over arrogance. Let's reflect together. When was the last time you shared an achievement? Did it bring you closer to others, or did it unintentionally create distance? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments. By fostering a community of humility and mutual support, we can inspire others to embrace the power of silent confidence. If this resonates with you, share this article with someone who might benefit from its insights. Let's spread these timeless Stoic principles and build a culture of genuine respect and connection. Together, we can create a world where our virtues, not our words, shine brightest. 6. Constant comparison. Excessive self-deprecating humor, while often perceived as a harmless way to connect or lighten the mood, can unintentionally undermine your self-worth and diminish your attractiveness. Humor is a powerful tool for building rapport, but when used to highlight personal flaws excessively, it creates an impression of insecurity rather than relatability. For the Stoics, true self-respect comes from embracing your strengths and weaknesses without unnecessarily magnifying them. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Meditations. This insight encourages us to be mindful of how we present ourselves, even in jest. Imagine a colleague who consistently makes jokes at their own expense in meetings, such as belittling their skills or dismissing their contributions. While this may initially appear humble or disarming, over time it shapes how others perceive them as less capable or lacking confidence. Reflect for a moment. When you make a self-deprecating joke, are you trying to deflect attention, or do you genuinely believe in the humor? What message does it send about your self-image? The Stoics remind us that humor, like all expressions, should align with our values and not come at the expense of self-respect. Epictetus wisely noted, "We are disturbed not by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens." Discourses. Excessive self-deprecation feeds negative thoughts, reinforcing doubts instead of fostering self-assurance. To transform this habit, begin by practicing self-awareness. When tempted to make a self-deprecating remark, pause and ask yourself, is this joke contributing to a positive connection, or am I using it to mask insecurity? Instead, focus on uplifting humor, stories or observations that celebrate life's quirks without diminishing your value. Another powerful practice is to reframe your self-perception. Acknowledge your flaws, but balance them with recognition of your strengths. For instance, instead of saying, "I'm terrible at presentations," consider reframing it as, "I'm learning to improve my presentation skills, and I've made progress." This shift not only changes how you see yourself, but also how others perceive you. In relationships, humor that celebrates rather than critiques strengthens bonds. People are drawn to those who exude quiet confidence, even in moments of vulnerability. As Seneca advised, "A man is as unhappy as he has convinced himself he is." Letters to Lucilius. By choosing humor that uplifts rather than undermines, you reflect a balanced, confident self-image. Let this be a reminder to use humor as a tool for connection, not self-degradation. Share your thoughts. How do you use humor in your daily interactions? Does it reflect the self-respect you strive for? By embracing a Stoic approach to humor, we can create deeper connections while fostering self-assurance and mutual respect. 7. Over-apologizing. Undermining confidence with excessive apologies. Over-apologizing, while often seen as a gesture of humility or politeness, can become a self-sabotaging habit that diminishes confidence and weakens your presence. When apologies are offered too frequently or unnecessarily, they risk losing their sincerity and impact. The Stoics, who valued measured words and actions, taught that apologies should stem from genuine accountability, not from insecurity or a need for constant validation. Marcus Aurelius emphasized, "Do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life." Meditations. This advice serves as a reminder to speak and act with purpose, avoiding the impulse to apologize for things that do not require contrition. Imagine someone in a workplace setting who prefaces every question with, "Sorry, but can I ask something?" or follows every minor action with, "I'm sorry if this caused any inconvenience." While these apologies may seem harmless, they can inadvertently communicate a lack of confidence or self-assurance. Over time, this behavior can make colleagues view them as overly self-critical or hesitant, rather than assertive and capable. Similarly, in personal relationships, excessive apologies can create an imbalance, making the apologizer seem overly dependent on others' approval, which may strain the connection. Reflect on this. How often do you find yourself apologizing for things that aren't your fault or don't warrant an apology? Does it strengthen your relationships, or does it subtly erode your self-confidence? To align with Stoic principles, it is important to recognize that apologies, when overused, lose their value. Instead of apologizing reflexively, focus on speaking with clarity and intention. If an apology is truly warranted, when you've made a mistake or caused harm, express it sincerely and concisely. However, avoid apologizing for simply taking up space, asking questions, or asserting your needs. For example, instead of saying, "I'm sorry for bothering you with this," reframe it as, "Thank you for taking the time to address this with me." This shift not only reframes the interaction, but also reinforces mutual respect. The Stoics remind us that self-assurance begins with understanding our own value. Epictetus observed, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Discourses. By standing firm in your words and actions, you project confidence and earn respect without the need for constant self-effacement. Reflect on your own habits. Are there areas in your life where you apologize more than necessary? How can you shift your language to express gratitude or assertiveness instead? By practicing thoughtful and intentional communication, you align with the Stoic ideals of self-respect and clarity, enhancing your presence and deepening your relationships. Share this reflection with someone who may benefit from reevaluating their own habits, and together, let's embrace the power of purposeful speech and action. 8. Overthinking, the silent drain on clarity and confidence. Overthinking is a subtle yet pervasive habit that can drain your mental clarity and erode your confidence, leaving you stuck in a cycle of doubt and inaction. At its core, overthinking often stems from a fear of making mistakes or a desire for perfection, but instead of bringing clarity, it magnifies uncertainty. The Stoics understood the danger of overanalyzing. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Meditations. This timeless wisdom encourages us to focus on what we can control and let go of unnecessary mental clutter. Consider a student preparing for an important exam. They spend hours obsessing over every detail of their notes, worrying about whether they've covered enough material. Instead of using that energy to review efficiently or rest, their overthinking leaves them exhausted and more anxious. Similarly, in relationships, overthinking manifests as replaying conversations or second-guessing intentions, creating unnecessary tension and self-doubt. Reflect. Have you ever spent so much time analyzing a situation that you felt more confused than before? Did it bring clarity, or did it leave you paralyzed? The Stoics offer a powerful remedy to overthinking: action. Epictetus advised, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Discourses. This teaching emphasizes doing rather than endlessly deliberating. By taking small, deliberate steps forward, you break the cycle of overanalysis and regain control over your choices. To overcome overthinking, start by identifying the decisions or scenarios that trigger it. Ask yourself, is this something I can control? If the answer is no, redirect your energy toward productive actions. For example, if you're overthinking an upcoming presentation, focus on preparing your key points rather than imagining every possible audience reaction. The act of preparation itself builds confidence and reduces mental noise. Another Stoic practice is setting boundaries for reflection. Give yourself a set amount of time to consider a problem, then commit to a decision. This approach prevents endless rumination and reinforces decisiveness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Keep each thing you do in life as simple as possible." Meditations. Simplicity in thought and action clears the path to progress. When you let go of overthinking, you free yourself to act with clarity and confidence. This change not only benefits your mental well-being, but also enhances how others perceive you. Reflect on your own habits. What decisions or situations have you been overanalyzing? What simple action can you take today to move forward? By embracing the Stoic approach to thoughtful action over endless deliberation, you unlock the clarity and confidence needed to thrive. Share this perspective with someone who might be caught in the loop of overthinking, and together, let's prioritize purposeful living over mental paralysis. 9. Emotional dependence, breaking free from the chains of neediness. Relying heavily on others for validation or happiness is a subtle yet impactful behavior that undermines self-worth and burdens relationships. While seeking connection is a natural human desire, over-reliance on external sources for emotional stability creates imbalance and erodes mutual respect. The Stoics, who valued self-sufficiency and inner strength, viewed emotional dependence as a vulnerability. Epictetus aptly stated, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." Discourses. True freedom comes from within, not from the ever-changing perceptions of others. Consider a friend who constantly seeks reassurance, repeatedly texting for validation or approval. While their intentions may stem from insecurity, over time, this neediness becomes draining for the other person. Instead of fostering a balanced, respectful relationship, it places undue pressure on one party while deepening the other's dependency. Reflect. Have you ever found yourself seeking approval to feel worthy? How did it affect your relationships and sense of self? The antidote to emotional dependence lies in cultivating inner resilience and self-awareness. Begin by identifying the triggers that lead you to seek external validation. Are they rooted in fear of rejection or inadequacy? Once recognized, replace these habits with self-affirming practices. For instance, instead of texting someone for reassurance, reflect on your strengths and past successes. This reinforces a sense of competence and confidence. Setting boundaries is another vital step. Before reaching out for validation, pause and ask yourself, am I addressing this need constructively, or am I shifting emotional responsibility onto someone else? By pausing, you give yourself the opportunity to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Practicing gratitude can also transform your perspective. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Do not indulge in dreams of what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess." Meditations. By focusing on the positives in your life, you reduce the urge to seek constant affirmation from others. Finally, build independence by setting personal goals and pursuing interests that nurture your self-worth. Each step you take independently reinforces the belief that you are capable and whole on your own. Breaking free from emotional dependence not only strengthens your relationships, but also fosters a profound sense of inner peace. As Seneca noted, "The wise man is content with himself." Letters to Lucilius. Let this serve as a reminder. True connection is built on mutual respect and balance, not on dependency. By embracing Stoic wisdom and cultivating emotional independence, you reclaim your power, enrich your relationships, and unlock a deeper sense of fulfillment. What steps will you take today to foster emotional self-reliance? Share your thoughts below. 10. Failing to take action. The silent barrier to progress. Failing to take action is a quiet but powerful hindrance that holds people back from growth, fulfillment, and meaningful change. Whether it's procrastination, fear of failure, or being paralyzed by indecision, the result is the same: missed opportunities and stagnation. For the Stoics, action was central to a virtuous and purposeful life. They believed that progress could only be achieved through deliberate effort. Seneca wisely advised, "Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life." Letters to Lucilius. This call to action reminds us that life's brevity demands urgency, and each moment is a chance to create meaningful change. Consider someone who dreams of starting a new business or pursuing a passion, but constantly delays. They wait for the perfect time, resources, or circumstances, unaware that perfection is an illusion. Inaction keeps them in a cycle of regret and self-doubt, while their potential remains untapped. Similarly, in relationships, failing to address conflicts or express feelings often leads to unresolved tensions and lost connections. Reflect for a moment. Have you ever hesitated to act on something important, only to regret the opportunity you let slip away? The Stoics remind us that life is unpredictable, and waiting for ideal conditions is a fruitless endeavor. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Meditations. By embracing the present and focusing on what is within our control, we free ourselves from the paralysis of overthinking and fear. To overcome inaction, start by acknowledging the root cause. Are you waiting for external validation, fearing failure, or overwhelmed by the magnitude of the task? Once identified, break the task into smaller, actionable steps. For example, if you aspire to write a book, begin by dedicating 15 minutes a day to brainstorming ideas. These small, consistent actions build momentum and confidence, transforming hesitation into progress. Another Stoic practice is to visualize the worst-case scenario. By confronting your fears, you reduce their power over you. Epictetus advised, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Discourses. This perspective shifts focus from outcomes to effort, empowering you to act with courage and determination. Action is the bridge between intention and achievement. It transforms ideas into reality and helps you align with your purpose. Reflect on your own life. What goal or decision have you been postponing? What small step can you take today to move closer to it? Share your reflections with others who may need encouragement to act, and together, let's honor the Stoic wisdom that calls us to live fully and intentionally, starting now. 11. Tolerating toxicity. The quiet erosion of self-worth. Tolerating toxicity, whether in relationships, workplaces, or social circles, is a silent yet powerful force that erodes self-worth over time. It's the choice to endure disrespect, negativity, or harmful behavior out of fear, habit, or misplaced loyalty. While compassion and patience are virtues, the Stoics remind us that protecting one's inner peace is equally vital. As Seneca advised, associate with those who will make a better man of you. Letters to Lucilius. Allowing toxic influences to linger in your life not only drains your emotional energy, but also sends a message to yourself and others that you undervalue your own dignity. Consider a friendship where one person consistently belittles your efforts, dismisses your dreams, or thrives on negativity. Out of reluctance to confront or end the relationship, you endure, hoping things will improve. Over time, this tolerance takes its toll, diminishing your confidence and leaving you emotionally exhausted. Similarly, in a toxic work environment, tolerating a dismissive boss or manipulative colleague often leads to stress, disengagement, and a diminished sense of self-respect. Reflect for a moment. Have you ever stayed in a situation that left you feeling undervalued? Why did you endure it? And what impact did it have on your sense of self? The Stoics teach us that tolerating toxicity is not an act of virtue, but a disservice to ourselves and to those who look to us for inspiration. Epictetus declared, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." Discourses. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It is essential for living with dignity, strength, and purpose. Breaking free from toxicity begins with self-awareness. Take a moment to identify relationships or environments that drain your energy rather than uplift you. Set boundaries that communicate your needs clearly, and if necessary, be willing to let go of those who undermine your growth. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Meditations. Walking away from negativity isn't weakness. It's an act of self-respect and courage. By refusing to tolerate toxicity, you reclaim your worth and create space for positive, uplifting connections. You inspire others to do the same, showing that prioritizing mental and emotional health is a strength, not a flaw. Reflect on your own life. What toxic influences are you tolerating, and how can you begin to let them go? In choosing to protect your peace, you take a bold step toward living with purpose, clarity, and self-worth. 12. Neglecting self-care, the forgotten foundation of virtue. Neglecting self-care may seem like a harmless act in the short term, but over time, it becomes a deeply toxic behavior that erodes your physical health, mental clarity, and emotional resilience. The Stoics recognized that caring for oneself is not a luxury, but a necessity for living a virtuous and purposeful life. Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, "Body, soul, and mind, keep these three in balance." Meditations. When you neglect this balance, you compromise not only your ability to fulfill your own potential, but also your capacity to contribute meaningfully to the world around you. Imagine someone who is constantly prioritizing work over rest, skipping meals, or ignoring their mental health. Initially, they might feel productive, even proud of their sacrifices, but over time, the neglect manifests as burnout, illness, or emotional instability. Their relationships suffer, their performance declines, and the very responsibilities they sought to honor become unmanageable. Reflect. Have you ever ignored your own needs in the name of productivity or duty? How did it affect your well-being and those who depend on you? For the Stoics, self-care is deeply tied to the pursuit of virtue. Epictetus taught that we must first master ourselves before we can guide or support others. Neglecting self-care is not selflessness. It's a failure to recognize your value and your role within the greater community. Without maintaining your own well-being, you cannot act with the clarity, strength, and presence that Stoicism demands. To counter this harmful behavior, begin by re-evaluating your daily priorities. Ask yourself, am I dedicating time to nourish my body, stimulate my mind, and calm my soul? Small, consistent habits, such as eating nutritious meals, taking mindful breaks, and engaging in regular physical activity, are essential building blocks of self-care. Remember, self-care is not indulgence, but discipline. It requires conscious effort to maintain the balance that Marcus Aurelius described. Additionally, cultivate gratitude for the opportunity to care for yourself. When you prioritize your health, you honor the life you've been given and set an example for those around you. As Seneca noted, health is not valued till sickness comes. Letters to Lucilius. Don't wait until neglect takes its toll. Act now to preserve and strengthen the foundation of your life. Reflect on this. What simple steps can you take today to improve the balance of your body, soul, and mind? Share your thoughts in the comments and let your reflections inspire others to embark on their own journey of self-care. As we close this exploration of Stoic wisdom, remember that self-care is not the end of your journey. It's the beginning. By nurturing yourself, you unlock the potential to live a virtuous, impactful life. Continue to discover more Stoic insights by following our channel, and together, let's pursue lives of purpose, balance, and wisdom. The 12 behavioral mistakes that diminish self-worth: breaking promises, avoiding responsibility, lacking ambition, tolerating toxicity, bragging, overthinking, self-deprecating humor, emotional dependence, constant comparison, over-apologizing, failing to take action, and neglecting self-care serve as quiet saboteurs of personal growth and integrity. Each of these behaviors erodes trust, confidence, and respect, both from others and within ourselves. The wisdom of Stoicism reminds us to act with purpose, prioritize self-respect, and align our actions with our values. Be mindful and courageous in recognizing and overcoming these pitfalls, as they can silently undermine your potential and relationships. Choose instead to embody strength, resilience, and self-mastery, ensuring you never allow these behaviors to define you. A final reflection on behavioral growth. The wisdom of Seneca and the Stoic philosophers reminds us that our actions define who we are and how we are perceived. Through this exploration of 12 behavioral mistakes that undermine our self-worth and relationships, we've uncovered the importance of integrity, self-awareness, and resilience. As Seneca said, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. By recognizing and avoiding these pitfalls, we prepare ourselves to live with purpose and strength. Now, reflect. Which of these behaviors do you recognize in yourself, and what steps will you take to overcome them? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your journey. If you found this content valuable, please like, share, and subscribe to support our community of growth and wisdom. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to join us for our next video, where we'll continue exploring the timeless lessons of Stoicism. Together, let's strive for lives of clarity, purpose, and fulfillment.